A reckless driver kept speeding past, playing kids in a quiet neighborhood, ignoring all safety warnings. So a frustrated neighbor decided to fight back by planting an invasive, unstoppable nightmare right in his pristine front lawn. Welcome back to the Jerk Verdict. Today on r/pettyrevenge, perfectly manicured grass turns into complete chaos. Let us inspect the evidence. This story comes from r/pettyrevenge, posted by u/the Brontosaurus. Before we get into it, drop your verdict in the comments. Who is the real jerk here? Pause the video, comment right now, and let us see if you agree with Reddit. There is a dangerous driver in my neighborhood who absolutely flies down my street. There are frequently children playing on the sidewalks and running across the street between houses. I am constantly worried one of them is going to get hurt. The audacity. People who treat quiet residential streets like their personal drag strip is unbelievable. When kids are playing on the sidewalk, you slow down. It is basic human decency. He also twice this year has blown straight through the stop sign, nearly colliding with my car. In April, while walking my dog, I saw the same car fly through the stop sign and pull directly into his garage. What a surprise! The guy driving like an absolute lunatic lives right down the block. At least now we know exactly where the culprit parks his getaway car. He may be a terrible and reckless driver, but he had a beautiful, pristine lawn. Classic. Who cares about child safety when you have perfectly manicured blades of grass to show off to the entire neighborhood? So, twice a day I walk my dog past his house. This has always been our routine, but now on the shelf next to the poop bags, I have a package of peppermint seeds. Unbelievable! A botanical revenge tool sitting right next to the dog bags. This is where the real mastermind planning begins. But wait until you hear what happens next. As I walk past his house, I subtly sprinkle or flick these tiny seeds into his pristine lawn. For those who do not know, mint is a very prolific grower and an extremely aggressive spreader. Sure, mint is absolute chaos in landscaping. It spreads via underground runners called rhizomes, meaning once it takes root in open soil, it is nearly impossible to eradicate without complete soil replacement. Even a tiny fragment of root can grow into a brand new plant. Once roots are in the soil, it'll continue to multiply until every last bit of root is completely removed from the yard. This is getting ridiculous. This is true. Botanical payback. If you plant mint in open ground without a barrier, you are essentially signing a lease with nature to surrender your entire yard. And how is this even legal? Someone tell me in the comments. His once perfect grass has been covered in little mint plants all summer. It looks like he is spraying chemicals and mowing over them, but he is not pulling them up by the root. Yeah, right. Keep mowing it, buddy. All you are doing is chopping the tops off while the roots build a subterranean army right beneath your feet. So next year, he is going to have twice as much mint taking over his property. Imagine that. He thinks he is winning the battle, but he has already lost the war, and this is where it gets ugly. Because this has been asked frequently in the comments, I have tried to get a speed survey or speed bump installed in the neighborhood. However, we need 75% approval from the neighborhood, and we have to fund it ourselves. Are you kidding me? You have to pay out of your own pocket and get 3/4 of the street to agree, just to prevent someone from endangering a child with a vehicle. The bureaucracy is completely broken. The local police promised to increase patrols in our area, which turns out to have been a single police cruiser driving through at 6 in the morning. Make sense. A single cruiser at 6 a.m. when the speeder flies through during the day. That is not enforcement. That is just checking a box on a report. So without any help from the city or law enforcement, the peppermint seeds remain my only weapon. Well, isn't that convenient? When official channels fail, the garden department takes over. But wait until you hear how the internet reacted to the suburban rivalry. Let us see what the community had to say about this. U/cryptic bunny road. Had a similar driver in my neighborhood. The guy that lived next to me heard the car coming up the hill one day and rolled a soccer ball into the road in front of his car. The driver swerved too hard and ended up in a ditch with massive vehicle damage from a tree. Tried to convince the responding officer that he was only going 25 miles per hour. Hold on a second. Rolling a ball into the street forces the driver to react as if a child ran out. If you crash going 25, you were not going 25. That driver proved their own guilt instantly. Another popular comment came with an equally intense response. U/pork vacuum shed. Someone in my grandmother's neighborhood did this with an empty baby stroller, since all the houses are elevated from the road. The speeder plowed right through the stroller and sped out of there without stopping. They never saw that car again. This is absolutely insane. Crashing into what looks like a baby stroller and driving away without checking is hit-and-run mentality. That person should not have a driver's license. And that brings us to the final vote. Reddit voted not the asshole with 94%. Do you agree? Drop your verdict in the comments. So what did Reddit decide? The community voted not the asshole with 94%. That means the vast majority of viewers agree that flicking mint seeds was a completely justified form of neighborhood self-defense. Let us look at the legal principles at play in this situation. First, the driver is committing persistent traffic violations, specifically reckless driving and failing to stop at posted stop signs. Under municipal traffic codes, exceeding residential speed limits where pedestrians are present creates strict liability and potential misdemeanor charges. But what about the seeds? Regarding the original poster's actions, flicking seeds onto private property technically constitutes a civil trespass and potentially property damage or private nuisance if the plant causes monetary harm to rectify. However, there is a catch to that rule. Because mint is a naturally occurring plant and proving intentional dissemination requires physical evidence, civil recovery for the driver would be extremely difficult in a court of law. And what about the neighborhood petition? Local municipalities often face governmental immunity claims regarding traffic control placement, which explains why the original poster was forced into a complex petition process for speed bumps, rather than receiving immediate municipal relief. Alright, it is time for the final verdict. We give the reckless driver a full 5 out of 5 jerks for endangering children and ignoring stop signs. We give the original poster a 0 out of 5 jerks for creative biological karma. Who is the real jerk here? Drop your verdict in the comments and let us argue about it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another breakdown. I will see you in the next one.